So let's see if he can do it here. It is a different matchup, and obviously he knows Raynor a lot better. They're very close friends, so I'm sure like there's some mind games and some pressure that comes in there that Spirit's probably not gonna have as much of. So yeah, I'm curious to see what happens. But in the top right hand side, it is the Flaming Lips, Harstem.
Yes, it is. It's in the bottom left-hand side. Our Blue Terran from Storm Gaming. It is Spirit.
Oh, very small. Okay, there we go.
That's because I was building up to the real story here, which is the SCV coming across the map.
Nifty. Yeah, and this is already very cool. Like, he's looking to utilize the map, right? Like, this map is gonna have a very far away third, a very close third inside the main, but you can basically sneak into it by floating the barracks inside. So that's probably what Spirit is looking to do, because then you can basically, but then again, it's a barracks, right? Like, do you think he makes a factory and then sneaks in the factory and just walks in mines, or
yeah,
do you just walk in 4 Marines or something?
Yeah, no, I'm not sure. Maybe you do just like walk in a few Marines. I'm not sure actually. Like, it's genuinely a pretty interesting little position, isn't it? It doesn't really kind of scream anything in particular, so kind of with you in terms of we could see something pretty funky kind of come out of this, maybe. As we'll see what his plan is. I mean, maybe, yeah, you build a factory here and then you float the factory in. This is a big map.
What the hell?
React?
Yeah, factory. Okay, weird. Yeah, factory, and then maybe you use it for reactor. No, but that doesn't make sense. See, why is he making a Marine here? That doesn't make sense to me.
Maybe you just proxy a starport as well and we just full send everything. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Okay, he is setting a reactor. So yeah, it looks like maybe like cyclone drops or something off of this. I thought for sure he was gonna float into the third, prospective third of Harstem, because look at that. Like, it's so close. It's so beautiful. So easy.
Yeah, I think maybe he just wanted to proxy, but he knew Harstem might scout the right side for proxies, but not this left side. As you can see, that's obviously not happening, right? So yeah, maybe that's got something to do with it. Because actually is pretty apparent, right, that Harstem really did just scout the right, and if Spirit knows that's how he likes to scout, this could just be a way to punish it. There's the starport as well, so just full on proxy style. Wow.
Yeah, well, and the Marine makes sense. It's for the watchtower, so he just wanted a unit to hold that watchtower. It's gonna be the Marine, and it's gonna be classic Widow Mine drops just off of a pretty strong position here. I mean, it's still a good proxy location. It just doesn't make use of what Harstem might have otherwise scouted with the probe now that is going to mine resources at the third. So cool stuff from Spirit. Could have been cooler, but it was cool. It is cool.
Could have been cooler, man.
Coulda, woulda.
Unbelievable. Can't believe this. Who are these guys not making it as cool as possible? As I do have a
seriously, like,
probe trying to mine out, man. We are just going to see this Widow Mine drop hitting hard when it does. It's going to be a big connection coming through in the just next few moments, essentially. So we'll see. 4 Widow Mines. We're already building more than that as well, Cat. So we are really going to double down on this.
Yeah, and the probe that you're honing in on is basically the prospective hero here for Harstem. It could spot everything and ruin Spirit's plans if Spirit's not careful, and Harstem has the lucky timing, and it might just happen right now.
No!
He will see it. Did he see it? He's seen it, right?
No, he didn't.
No?
He did not see it.
He ain't seen it?
No.
Oh my god, now the Widow Mine is gonna walk into the natural, and a Widow Mine is gonna go to the ramp here, maybe to look for stalkers that are gonna be transferring over, as 2 Widow Mines now burrow into the main. The probes are running towards the trap! No!
Oh dear,
it's
that
done.
ain't good.
It's done.
Yeah,
Call it.
Call it. The only good news, arguably, perhaps, maybe, is as we see, obviously, even more showing up here. I was going to say the only good news, arguably, is the fact that it's a 1 base from Spirit, but this is obviously just way too much, because these few extra Widow Mines are bound to do at least a little bit extra as well, right? So definitely expect some more out of those, as 15 workers have gone down, and yeah, I mean, this just...
And the Marine here is just, like, sitting there as well. The Marine can be answered. Like, he's just like, okay, kill me if you can. I guess the Oracle can, never mind.
Nope, apparently not, Cats. Apparently not, it's just not meant to be. As that sentry does clean up in the end, but this is just way too much damage. This is the sort of damage you're not really meant to recover from, because the sort of damage you're never meant to take in the first place.
Natural! Zoom in!
Okay, oh,
no! GG. I mean, that was wild. 25 workers in the last little bit, and in total a lot more than that, I think, in a very short game. That's wild.
That was pretty wild.
Like I said, it was the perfect proxy opportunity for Spirit. He just knew.
I would go as far as to say he just knew what Harstem was going to scout, right? Like, Harstem scouts all the way down the right side, doesn't go across the map, though.
Yeah.
And so Spirit just takes complete advantage of that, and yeah, did not mess around at all, cats. He was not messing around in the slightest. All right, fun first,
that's wild.
fun, quick, aggressive first game. We get ourselves ready for game number 2 in just a couple of moments. We'll get this all started out and see what's going to happen. As Harstem's already readying and GLGLing. So is our referee GLHFing, so we are really just a moment or two away.
Throw it in there, GLHF, just for the people.
Yeah, and the casters as well, GLHF. I'm not going to, I don't.
The cast, why not?
Like Harstem might think I like
It's kind of
him.
BM almost, no? But I guess the referee, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
You know,
Man, this was wild. I mean, I loved it. Did you love it? It was cool.
yeah, it was an explosive way to start the series, you know? That's always a good thing. Fun.
Yeah, I really like how careful he was, like with one mine to the natural, but also the one mine in the middle of like you know, like either to cut off a stalker that would be in transit or to do what it did, which was kill like 14 probes that were pulled towards it in between the natural and the main. That Widow mine was the MVP. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, the actual setup itself was just good, right? It was just, like you say, there was a lot of interesting positions that he took, but they all made sense and they all added into the next one, kind of, you know, having some success as well. So, worked out pretty well in general. And unfortunately, we never really got to see this man get started in the last game. Hopefully, this game will be a bit different for him. The bottom right, red Protoss, Harstem.
On the top left-hand side, his opponent, Spirit. Beast. He's been so good as of recently, Spirit as well, right? Like, just solidifying himself at the top of Europe. It's been awesome to see.
And a thriller series against Clem in the upper bracket. He barely ended up down here. In Clem's one play, he's probably not really been able to crack it, so to see him kind of get close was almost a little bit of a shame. You know, a little bit of a shame to see him get close, but then not quite make it. But just in general, great to see him. He's been doing well. He's just constantly improving, man. It's really been fun to watch Spirit as of late. It's so good because I said this a couple times, but as casters, we've been hyping up Spirit for so long because we've seen the magic he can bring, and then he just never kind of strung results together, or in the bigger events, never really did it. But you know, lately he actually has stepped up, and he actually has been doing all these things that we kind of knew he could, but he hadn't really shown to the world, I guess.
Yeah, I think he's consistently been improving, and that's the important thing for Spirit. Like for me, like it's just awesome to see like consistent progress, and it's always been like that where it's like, yeah, he's not beating the big dogs, but he's always putting up good games, always putting up good fights, and then it's like, yeah, like he doesn't really lose to like, you know, players that are worse than him, and now it's like he's consistently beating the big players and consistently putting up like more than just a fight, right? Like barely loses to Clem. This is a Clem that's at his peak as well. Number 2 on Aligula, at least as of yesterday or last time I checked, which is wild. It's like number 1 Terran rated in the world. That's insane. So for Spirit to, you know, to take 2 games out of Clem, it's like, you know, like that shows that he's in contention to be one of the best Terrans in the world, period. It's wild.
It's just freaking cool, man. I love it. Absolutely love it. Love everything about it. As we do have an Adept currently moving towards the upper left-hand side of the map, so Harstem is going to come over and spot a little bit of what's going on. The few Marines are going to start firing up against that Adept. I'm just going to be seeing a little bit of back and forth here for a few moments. As we just have the Twilight Council and Robo Facility back at home, so pretty standard stuff this game. I do really feel as though that Harstem's, like I say, he's been playing smart lately. He's had some cool builds and everything, so very excited to specifically see what he can turn that into, you know, here against Spirit, because he really feels like he's the player that's benefited from planning as of late.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, Harstem is, a very, very smart person. And his gameplay, like the way he moves his units and the way he plans things ahead, can be really, really good. I'm not sure about the matchup and how he feels in particular. And Spirit is such a consistent player that it's definitely going to be difficult. But yeah, we got to let the chef cook, the captain drive.
The carpenter build.
The carpenter build.
Yes.
The architect plan.
I love how I really just made up this carpenter thing, and well, someone in chat actually made it up. I really adopted it, and more people went with it than I expected, man. Like it's been more of a pickup than I thought it would be. I thought we'd never hear it again after that day, but That has absolutely not been the case.
No, I love it. I love it. I think it's fitting. Like he's had so many names and worn so many hats. So I feel like almost any profession can be allotted to him under the right circumstances.
But maybe it's just time for a new one for him as well, you know? Maybe he needs that freshen up. You know, maybe he needs that freshen
That
up,
is
and
true.
that's
That
going
is
to bring
true.
him the power.
I see.
Yeah.
The year, finally the year.
Finally the year. It's always the year, Cats. No finally about it.
That's true.
Dept is just chilling for a couple of moments, shading towards the natural expansion. As see that blink coming up, a couple stalkers continue to build. It is going to be Banshees with cloaks, so Spirit's really coming in to play a pretty tricky series as well, right? Like he's coming in absolutely saying like, hey, I want to play pretty aggressively. I want to play like up and in your face. And I'm going to do things that you might not, you know, let you be comfortable in the game. Obviously, Harstem's going to strike here. First here, though, as he comes in, 3 gates of Stalker's going to get in for 3 SCVs. Spirit has to fully relocate to deal with this,
nice.
and that's taken a little while. And now the SCV is going to pull in 2. Prism was maybe sieged up a moment too long, but it gets away anyway.
Yeah, good chunk of damage there. Great job from Harstem, and good job from Spirit as well, like methodically kind of dislodging it, like minimizing the amount of damage that he takes from the moment he is actually able to react. But yeah, that's the punch that Harstem needed to start this.
And he
That's
scouted
why they call him the boxer.
He's the boxer. Yeah, he scouted the Cloak Banshee too, so he has a pretty good... Unless he thinks that's Matrix, he has at least an idea that it could be Cloak Banshee. He's getting an Observer up, he's getting... I don't know if he just warped a Stalker in at home, but I guess we'll check on that in a second, because he is threatening to jump in once again here into the main base. Tank in range, but obviously it's a big main, so you can move all the way around to the right side and then try and get a little bit more done.
Yep, and that's gonna be good. That should be a supply depot as well on the way out if he wants it. The tank is off position right now, so Spirit very quickly realizes that he wants to like kind of shield it with his SCVs. Harstem doesn't jump on the opportunity. I feel like he could have. Might have cost him like a stalker or 2 from the tank in the back, but well worth it, I think, for basically a free tank at that point. And now the Banshee is looking to do a little bit of damage, but Observer already in position as well as 3 stalkers.
Yeah, I just seen the possibility of Banshees before is definitely giving Harstem the heads up, and so he'll push it back. Obviously, still dangerous to have this on the map because it's one of those things that can always come back at any point, right? It can be that surprise factor and, you know, really catch you off guard and deal a bunch of damage. So it's something to watch out for sure. As yeah, Stalker's pulling back over, and going to be seeing Stimpack +1 combat shield all the way up. The Stalker's in the back, going to live back into that prism. The Marines are there to keep that held back as well.
Absolutely love it. And on the other side, we have +1 coming up. Charge almost done. And additional 3 gateways as well as a fully operating third, more or less. So Harstem is in a very strong position, I would say. Spirit is going to be looking to break out of his own base and try to make something happen. Though I don't see a third CC, right? So this is going to be a big move out soon.
Yep, going up to a 5th rack, so usually you would say this is a full 2 base commitment. Sometimes you sneak in a 3rd behind this, right? You know, you kind of sometimes can afford to come in on the back, but yeah, it's kind of just expensive right now as our Stalkers continue to chill. Prism in the top left, figuring out what it would like to do. It's going to unload a few more Stalkers over here. Let's get those set back up.
Yep. And there's the 3rd base going down, but we are still very much expecting, I think, a move out, right? It is too late, I think, for Spirit to try to come back into this economically, though it is Spirit, so if there was anyone that's gonna be like, okay, let's just, you know, I'm just gonna turtle from here and try to make it a very, very long game and just play from very far behind, then it could be him to do it, but I think we very much are expecting a move out soon. The 3rd will be, you know, in case he does enough damage that he can justify kind of going back into a macro game and kind of tells us to some degree maybe no SCV pool or something super hyper committed, but it will be an attack that he expects to damage with coming up soon. Coming up now, in fact.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. I think it's this one idea of just like, it's a good fallback, you know, and it's, if you're not going to pull the SCVs, it's affordable. He actually just moves out. If he actually just sits and takes the 3rd, then... Wild. Yeah, I'd be surprised, arguably, maybe he's just seen something he doesn't like. Maybe he felt like he took too much damage off the Stalkers. The Banshees didn't really do enough themselves, and so he doesn't think he could make it work. But, yeah, I mean, I guess on the other side, if Harstem attacks into this is the worst time to attack in. Yes, your opponent's taking a 3rd, but he's taking it from the most kind of, you know, aggressive position possible. So in theory, it should be somewhat fine here from Spirit as we get ready to maybe make a move in the next couple moments. Harstem is looking around. Marine is going to see this. And the CC is going to take position on the 3rd as we speak.
Yeah, I like what Harstem is doing, though. Banshee is finally finding a little bit of damage here on the other side. 2 probes now going into the next base. Might find an extra couple if he syncs up the attacks. Misses 1 probe that he could kill there, as Stalkers are not going to be on the chase. With the cannon in the main, no problem. He's going to be able to clean that up. So I do like what Harstem is doing behind this. He actually sees the position. He actually says, oh, okay, you're not actually attacking me. Adds a Forge, Chrono boosts, you know, his upgrades, and he's just going to be ready to keep on adding tech and transitioning. I don't know about this move in, but I guess with the Stalkers, it's fine to siege.
Yep, just gonna kind of take the position and make it difficult. You kind of force the fight, right? Because the tank's aren't far enough forward to stop him getting there, so I didn't hate the idea, but not much is really found from it anyway. That one Banshee tries to come back, and it's going to find a position as well, so we'll still get a couple more workers. Harstem, it kind of feels like he's almost ready to go, and then he's just not quite sure what he's looking for.
Yeah, that was a big stim from Spirit, and yeah, it seems like a little bit of hesitation. I mean, 3 ghosts now on the way for Spirit, who seems to be content just playing the Spirit game and going very, very late into the game here. The pylon is going to be healed at the very last second by the shield battery, so Harstem paying attention there will pay off dividends, as he now gets War Prism speed and continues on with his double upgrades. So, yeah, I mean, Spirit will get maxed out, right? And while Harstem has had a good economy and like kind of like good amount of real estate on the map, like how can he close this game out? Like, it doesn't seem like there's a clear opportunity on a map like this where there's so many ramps and chokes leading to the 3 bases.
I guess this map is, you know, kind of in the macro category in that regard, because it is kind of good to just take 3-4 bases on. We do see a lot of maps develop into, or games develop into longer games here, so kind of makes sense as Marine Marauder continues up, and the vac and missile turret continuing in. Yeah, how do you end the game? Well, probably what he's kind of doing, right, which is he's getting a Dark Shrine, so he'll have DT harass, he'll have Disruptors, which is really good for his army as well, of course, right? So I think these things will go a long way for Harstem, and I think he's right in just saying, right, I'm not ending it with this army, so let's just back away, let's get into what is kind of, you know, the truer late game, and to be fair, Spirit is still held back, no 2-2 upgrades, for example. He was really focused on apparently surviving, and maybe now this push, but obviously he's still looking to the future with an extra base coming up.
This is a very good position, though, for Spirit that he has already taken, and the Zealots actually charge forward where they have no business charging forward at the moment. A lot of them are going to be bruised, and that encourages the Bio to actually take steps forward towards the Colossus. The shield battery overcharge will deter for now, as the first Disruptor is going to get a hit just to soften up one of the tanks that then gets picked off by the Colossus. So that was a scary moment still, because Spirit basically took this position for free. Big guts from Harstem to come and defend instead of just evacuating to his newfound base, and the Spirit's stepping forward again, so yeah, this is kind of wild. If Harstem cleans this up, he's going to be in such a good position, though.
Yep, let's see if he can do so. He's pushing forward the +2 attack upgrade. Love that he pulled that Colossus back when it was hurt. It will finally go down, but he's more or less broken through the majority of this at this point, but he's got so much bio to the top. There was the bio off the top that was actually huge here. The Disruptor shot's not going to land. That's a big win for Spirit in the end. In fact, Harstem's army is just deletoed, and we're probably just looking at a 2-0 lead.
Oh my god, I mean, this was completely wild. GG will be called, and yeah, that was an engagement to take, right? It was only from one position from Harstem. I think took a little bit too much damage on the first large volley onto all of his Zealots, so those Zealots were softened, and he was adding a lot of tech. He was doing the things that he needed to do to transition into a later game. I don't think he was ready for that attack in particular. He might have wanted to add additional gateways, for example, instead of like an extra 2 robos or something like that. That's not really gonna kick in for the attack, right? Like again, Spirit kind of came in clean onto that position. Harstem picked off a medevac at the top with Blink Stalkers, but that kind of opened up the bottom side of the map to where Spirit was able to siege and position as well as he wanted, and just take that position for free. So yeah, Harstem didn't really have... Maybe he should have just evacuated. What do you think, Guardicho? Difficult to say.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like there was a fight he could have taken, though. I think that's what it's going to come down to. I feel like there's a fight he could have taken. Clearly, that was not it. Maybe he just needs the Disruptors to hit better. I think one of the big things as well is he had the Prism across the map, but it got stuck in a corner, so he couldn't hit the other side at all, and that really hurts, because then you're not forcing the Terran to go back. It's not hurting the Terran. You know, it doesn't... You know, maybe if you have that, then you can evacuate the base as well, and then pick the better fight more easily, if the fight clearly isn't going well for you. But with how it was, I think he kind of did need to take the fight, because he's not really in a position. And as well for Harstem, I wonder how he felt about it, because I wonder if he sort of felt as though he was in an okay eco spot because of how Spirit was playing, or if he felt Spirit was just expanding and taking bases, because if that's the case, he probably really felt like he had to hold that place, right? Where we could kind of see that it was definitely the more kind of aggressive way of expanding for Spirit, in the sense of he was more focused on army, less so on economy, so maybe then it would have made more sense. So, yeah, honestly, a lot of good questions. I'm not sure what the best answer is. Studio StarCraft, but a lot to think about for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunate for Harstem. I mean, he played a very good game, very good start for him, but Spirit does Spirit things, and yeah, once he's maxed out, I mean, his army was pretty scary. Hits them EMPs. Also, the Immortal, there was only one, and there was a lot of tanks, and the Immortal wasn't focus firing the tanks towards the, like, at the very tail end of the engagement he started, but he could have killed like a couple more tanks, I feel like, if it was not just attack moved. But at the same time, very difficult to make that decision when you only have one Immortal, right? Because then you're allocating a lot of attention to the one unit. Whereas if you have a little group, you can shift click them, and then it's like double value if you have 2 and triple value if you have 3 for, you know, actions per your attention. But yeah, that was kind of unfortunate too. Lots of Marauders, lots of tanks. Not enough anti-tanks and Marauders.
No, you kind of got that. You kind of fizzled out, but only because it was sort of obvious, I suppose, as we have in the bottom right. The bottom right, our Red Protoss player is going to be Harstem, representing, of course, the Shopify Rebellion.
And for Psystorm in the top left-hand side, his opponent, he is Spirit. Leading the series 2-0.
2-0, like that as well. Beautiful.
2-0.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just playing solid. You know, this was the kind of series I would have expected maybe like 3-4 months ago, but it has just been. It just felt like Harstem stepped up lately. It felt like his preparation for matches he's played when he's had prep time has been great. So I'm definitely surprised about it today. If this was 3 or 4 months ago, this may be the kind of series I'd expect. Spirit hitting with some different aggression. Sometimes Harstem getting it set up okay, but Spirit finding a way anyways. So in that regard, it's kind of interesting too, is maybe Spirit is just stepping up that other level. As Harstem stepped up recently, maybe Spirit steps himself up even further.
Yeah, that's quite likely. I mean, that last game in a vacuum, though, very difficult to judge, because Harstem was doing the right things, right? Like, he was expanding. He was getting ready for like a later game. He had like pylons spotting on the left-hand side. He had his stalkers on the top. It was just like the one path that Spirit took, in my opinion, that gets there completely unannounced and gets to siege right in front of his base. You know, like, that's such a strong position that he kind of got for free. But I don't feel like Harstem did poorly on scouting, or he wasn't trying to put pylons out there, or, you know, he wasn't trying to see Spirit move out. It's unfortunate, I think.
Yep. I'm with you, Cats. I'm with you. As we do have SCV trying to deal with this, Harstem is mixing it up with the proxy gateway across the map. So Engineering Bay does get cancelled. It's already a forward gateway as well, so that first Zealot gets across the map so much sooner because of that. So that's already a big plus to note. And then, like I say, you got that second gate proxy. It's Chrono Boost now to Stalker. Full aggression on the way. Spirit right now, he's like, oh, you got rid of the Engineering Bay, but you've not actually expanded. What's that about, bro? So... yeah, alarm bells should be ringing a little bit, because if he's not kind of gone for this, then what is he doing? He must be building something. You've been in the main to see as well, so yeah, it's definitely a confusing moment or two here for Spirit.
Yeah, I never get to say Menagerie, so I'll just say Menagerie here. Has an Adept also gets added. It's going to be a Stalker, a Zealot, and an Adept. And that's pretty cool, right? Because the Adept has the longest distance to travel, whereas the Stalker is probably the unit that you want the most. The Zealot was the only unit available, so Harstem really kind of scrapping an army of whatever he can here to try to hit as hard as possible, as early as possible. Gets an SCV for his troubles, but the second one gets in the bunker. And now we have an army of, a Menagerie that doesn't really have a lot to do here.
Yeah, no,
until the Robo's here, I guess.
Yeah, I guess Robo coming up is going to give us the Prism, which obviously just makes this better in general, being able to micro the units, so even elevated them elsewhere. There's our Robo facility coming through the gateway, and the couple Stalkers coming up as well. That Warp Gate is also a building for the moment.
The Warp Gate is also a building. And, you know, the 2 Stalkers that are coming up are going to be pretty cool with the what I'm assuming will be the Warp Prism to one-shot workers as well, so...
yeah.
I'm a big fan.
It's almost surprising, though, that this is still just one base, right? Like, you know, we kind of take it for granted almost sometimes that even if I see an aggressive follow-up off this, I'm kind of thinking, yeah, he's going to do this and then drop an expand and then go into something else. But no, there's no expansion in sight here. So kind of an interesting one. Like I say, definitely a little bit unique that he's just committed to the one base, especially with, you know, a series on the line. Like, this is it. This is your ESL Masters run for the year, kind of coming to an end if you're not careful. And there's a few Marines pop out, and just going to be seeing the Immortal and the Sentry on the way as well, and Adept going to shade.
Yeah, I guess the way I look at this is if he was to add a Nexus or something like that right now, then why did you make all those units early on, right? And if the answer is, well, they were meant to kill my opponent and they didn't, it wasn't even close, so, you know, that shouldn't be your strat. I feel like if you are going to commit to this constant production and whatnot, then yeah, you kind of have to just lean heavily on it. And like now he has 400 resources, so maybe he can drop a Nexus behind it, but he has been non-stop producing units and he has a strong army, so let's see what he can make with it.
Yeah, I think he's just going to send the warp in as soon as this prism finishes. He'll probably have the warp in. There's a lot of his money spent, still not everything though, so this is not going to be maybe as full power as it could have been, or as, you know, as much as we dreamed of, I guess. Let's just have kind of the way it's scanned from Spirit. He's even like, well, what's going on? Yeah, he's like, well, what's happening? You got to attack me soon, right? But I've got double tank, I've got a bunker. Still no expand. There's no kind of funky gold base to take on this map either, so there's no like way back in for Harstem really in that regard, where sometimes you might see the possible comeback. This is rough.
Yeah. I mean, it's rough. I mean, Harstem did such a good job to force the scan as well, because he only showed the 2 stalkers, the Bruised Up Adept and the Zealot at the front whenever Spirit was looking for the rest of the army. So, you know, this is somewhat of a surprise in some sense from Spirit, but not really. Once he scanned, he knows, like, okay, like you're all-inning, right? So at least he forced the scan, which is cool by that little move. And now he drops a Nexus, which I like. This Nexus could have gone down as soon as the scan wore off, and that might have been the best window that he was going to find. Because, yeah, Spirit right now is in crisis mode, and yeah, don't fuck with me mode. I have my units in my main mode.
Yep. Marines and tanks is going to sit here. This prism continues to move around, trying to figure out what it is they would maybe like to do. As that orbital floats across towards the natural, so away we go just there.
These tanks.
Yeah, they're just chilling,
look at that. No Marine can pass. Yeah, I mean, that's not cool. Imagine, like, the Immortals being dropped on the other side. I guess there's a Viking there. But the Marines can't really help those tanks. Like, you could actually have cleared all 4 of those tanks if there was, like, 2 Immortals dropped from the other side. But instead, they're going to be dropped here, which is equally good. Because, again, those tanks are really restricting a lot of the movement of the Marines. So they're going to be very, very slow to answer. I love that recall, actually. Yep. Doesn't load the War Prism, because that's more dangerous, but still gets it in the picture, basically, for it.
Yep, like that. Anything to kind of save units and to put some pressure on as well, right? I definitely feel like that's what we absolutely need right now from Harstem. He needs to be applying some kind of pressure. Not doing anything at all is only going to end sourly for him, I feel like. So, like a lot of that, we just got ourselves the Stalkers and everything still moving around on the top side. So he's keeping the pressure. And he kind of has to, because the moment he lets his opponent move onto the map, it's going to be absolutely go time from Spirit, right? Like, if he gets across the map with Stim +1, like, there's no way Harstem holds. So he has to pressure and threaten here, while also, you know, running that line of soon there's about to be Medivacs, there's drop potential as well.
Yep. And, yeah, I mean, if you're Harstem, I think you're praying for Spirit to move out more or less, because you do have that juicy Disruptor ready to fire right there at the front, and you have the vision from the Observer as well. So, you know, like, even especially before Medivacs, and if he can cover the exit pass of those Medivacs, which he's looking to do with these Stalkers, and Spirit does a frontal move out, the Disruptor could very well be the equalizer from the Disruptors, could very well be the equalizers, unless they get scanned or something.
Oh yeah, you know it. Yeah, the Disruptors absolutely could do a lot here as the Obs can get caught by the Viking. That is going to go down. So Observer falls for the moment. A couple of Mortals, Disruptors, everything joining together just for a second. Still waiting just out the front as the Medivacs have loaded up, so this is where you're going to have to be a bit more careful as Harstem, although the pylons and everything here will spot these Medivacs, so he will see them coming over. Spirit didn't necessarily know where the proxy was, but he will just unload over here and...
Oh, scan.
I mean, I guess with no blink, right, you can actually just lift up and get out at any moment if you need to, so this is really just a non-dangerous thing to do, and now you've unpowered the Robo, which is obviously huge.
That is massive. And yeah, Harstem now has to be very careful because he just like recently used the recall as well. So yeah, now you gotta evacuate, but you also already used 2 of your disruptor shots. One of them is gonna find 5 Marines, but that's gonna cost you all 3 disruptors here at the front. Harstem knows it, and he's gonna